Hello, everyone. Today, I'm so honored to have Snow Raven here joining us. Hi, Snow Raven. Thank you for being here.
Uriel, Beth, and everyone, thank you so much for inviting me.
I'm
So,
so honored to have you here, and I can't wait for everybody to get to know you better. And, I haven't even heard most of your whole story, and I'm sure it's so fascinating. But I will say, I saw you perform live a couple times this summer, and I was just really blown away. And there's nothing like seeing Snow Raven play live. Wow.
thank you. Yeah, I love live performances. There's something
Yeah.
magical about that. It's like a pure channeling, and you never know what to expect. That's the key. It's a mystery that always makes me to be curious about life.
I love it. Even you're surprised by your own channeling, right?
Yeah, sometimes I get surprised, like, whoa, what was that?
So good.
Yeah.
Well, let me read your bio a little bit so the audience can get to know you. So, Snow Raven, also known as Sur, I tried to say it right,
Yeah, that was perfect.
was born in one of the most remote and cold inhabited places in the world, the Republic of Sakha, Yakutia? Yakutia?
Yakutia. Uh-huh.
Yakutia, Arctic Siberia. She was 3 years old when she started to learn the language of birds and animals. Her voice takes its breath from the traditional Sakha culture and is truly an instrument. She is the OG of Arctic beatbox, the reindeer breath, and the founder of Olok's ecosystem of many believes common truth, which we'll hear more about. Snow Raven was a participant on America's Got Talent in 2020, headlined at Lightning in the Bottle Festival, Lost Lands, The Elements, Lucidity Festival, Om Rising, Beloved, Sundance Film Festival, and multiple shows at Burning Man. She also took place in the Bioneers Eco Conference, the International Forum Arctic Circle 2015 in Iceland, and the French American Arctic Expedition Pax Arctica, sponsored by the Prince Monaco Foundation and in the International Beatbox Championships as a special guest. And you can check out her links. Be sure to follow her on Instagram. And also, we're going to find out about Olox and when it's available to the public. But let's get started. Your story is so interesting. I think there's very few people who've lived a life like yours in Arctic Siberia and then now, hanging out in New York City, recording an album and touring around the world. How did this come about? What's your story?
Thank you so much for a nice introduction. It's, I would say, all of these festivals that you listed. I visited here in the United States. So I moved here 5 years ago. But before coming here, I discovered the whole world, the big world, when I was 19. First time I went to abroad. So being born in small remote place, small in terms of village with 300 people only, but it's a vast area. The entire Republic of Sakha Yakutia, it's huge. If it was an independent country, it would have been the sixth largest in the world. It's that big. And the density of population, before Russians discovered us, it was even, small, like per square mile, I don't know, 1/10 of the body. And in the 17th century, we were discovered by Russians, and then our territory was more civilization came to us. But before that, my ancestors were living just bowing and surrendering and learning about how to survive in the very harsh weather conditions. And it comes from very long and cold winters, which can go to minus 96 by Fahrenheit or 72 by Celsius. And so living in that constant survival mode, but I didn't know it was survival. For me, it was normal. And it's like for fish saying, what is the water, right? And so we have 4 seasons, very short summers, very short autumn and springs, but they're very intense, very like wanting, to absorb that short sunlight. And there's very interesting part of my life that like seeing sunsets and sunrise is very special, and also winter solstices and summer solstices. So it's something about North Pole. Everything is so quiet and silence. You can hear little sounds, and you can even hear the tail of sound, like echoes and reverberation and delays of the sound that bounces from, one hill to another. So I grew up in that very pure and a very primal environment. And my village was just like a big family. So we knew each other. We knew their like 3 generations. And my grandfather, who was the source of masculine energy, the protector. We were like poor family because I was born right before Soviet Union collapsed, and people's life changed. But we never been hungry because grandfather was providing the most pure, eco, food in a traditional way. I grew up eating meat and drinking milk straight from cow, and having chickens, surrounded by animals, having game meat, jackrabbit or duck. Those seasons are the most, like I was waiting for my grandfather when he comes with meat. And but here, living in the United States, I don't need that traditional lifestyle because we don't have this intense survival environment. Here is very comfortable. We built all of this environment to comfort ourselves, and there's another way to survive. There are different predatory like energy that we used to see, unfortunately, in people, because the way my ancestors were living, they had real predators. They could, like a bear or wolves. And it's all about the energy. I think it's all about, our human consciousness, very, very mysterious. And I grew up believing in shamanism. And shamanism, it's a very traditional shamanism. We call it oyumnahan. And it doesn't have any plant medicine involved, particularly in my culture, Sakha culture. But we do have over 30 different tribes living in the entire Arctic Circle, Arctic Siberia. And 3 of them, Itelmen, Koryak, and Chukchi people, they use Amanita muscaria for their fly agaric, the redwood white dots mushroom, the king of the mushroom, they say. They used it for their shamanic ceremonies. And I'm eager to talk about shamanism during this podcast. I'm so inspired from that.
Well, let's get into it. When I saw you perform, my friend had told me, she's like, "Oh my God, you're gonna get blown away by her." And I was like, "What is coming out?" I could tell this was pure channel, and it was these beautiful sounds that really embodied it. It felt like you were leading a ceremony on some level. It felt like we were calling in these animals and these spirits, and I don't know if that's what was really happening, but that's how it felt. I'm curious, how did you find your voice and find this music? Was it just kind of, communication with the animals when you were a kid, and then next thing you know, it turns into music? Like, how did this come about?
Well, the voice, it's such a powerful gift that we all have. Even when we speak, we sing it, but in a very, very narrow vocal range, perhaps 2-3 notes only. But when we expand it and stretch it low and high, then it becomes the whole entire melody and your own song. And quite often you hear it in the nature. Nature's full of beautiful melodies, and each creature has own song. And the songs are the type of communication. So I'm so lucky to be born in that remote place and surrounded by nature, by forests. So forest was so close. And when I was 3 years old, my grandmother taught me how to sing traditional songs, and the singing techniques that you heard at MAP's closing ceremony. this hey, this little, almost like a yodel singing technique. It's like an overtone, and it brings the groove. It's almost like a bird singing. And all the traditional songs of Sakha people have that singing technique. Besides that, we have te te me te 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 Alaska. So it's a tongue-alike technique, which is the palate. So you work with your breath and tongue. There are a lot of different tricks, a lot of different little tools that you can use in order to express yourself. And bird and animal sounds, they're very special in shamanism because that's what you said exactly. We're calling them the spirit totem animals. So my totem animal, as you understood, it's a raven, right? Raven has 4 different sounds that I've learned. It has even more sounds. It can even mimic human voices. But that's very special survival animal. I call it not even bird. Animal was always next to me. I was growing up and feeding them with meat. And wherever I go, they're there. Like they are following me. And ravens, they are spread around the world. And I feel at home when I see them. And they're very mysterious. The symbol of raven, it's a death and rebirth. And they quite often assist shamans in their journeys because you see the sort of the raven eye. And a lot of indigenous tribes have that symbolism. So each animal and bird symbolizes something. An owl, for instance, it's a wisdom. And the shaman, when they do the sounds, all the animal sounds, they borrow the skill of that animal or bird in order to fall into trance. So they're assisted by the spirits to fall into trance. And the whole point why Sakha shamans or in entire shamanism, these gifted people get altered because of, they want to download. When they are altered, they embody a lot of energy. They basically can travel to the lower world, middle, and the higher. That's how we see in shamanism. There are 3 levels. And so voice, the power of voice and the sounds like mouth harp, for instance, or drumming, it's all the waves. That doesn't have any obstacles or limitations. It can travel through many realms. And it guides you. It guides you where you want to go to if you master how to travel between realms. And the main thing is when you sing, it brings you back to your body. So when you are altered, you travel and you collect the downloads, the information that community will survive. That's how my people survived. And then for that person, it's hard to come back because they can go far away. And the sound brings you back to body and provides the safe passage back to your home, to your body.
That's so important, and this is such medicine. I've been working on my own voice for many years now. The last 5, 6, and it is amazing to see how much my life has changed just by opening up my voice and really getting it embodied and not even caring how I sound. I don't care if I sound good or bad. It's because it's like the depths of my being, and I can actually feel. Like I can observe myself channeling. Like I'm like, I don't even recognize who's singing. And I actually bring this into my work with my clients as a business coach because like you said, this is the self-expression. Like we need to be really open in our voice and really become that channel to be of service in the world. And that's most of the audience listening is, many people are called to service and help during these times. And I'm curious, do you find that your work and your music and people are giving you feedback that people say like, wow, that was so healing, or I traveled to another world, or, are you traveling to a different world when you're in that state? I'm curious, like, what the feedback is from so many people.
Yeah, the power of sound is really magical. It takes you to different realms, and definitely your soul travels with that sound. And there's one saying that I've learned being here in the United States, contact high. And that was in my, also, I don't like the word high. I mean, the intention behind that, but high, it's actually traveling. You're in a higher world. So that's the whole point of that. And the main thing is what you're going to download and what you're bringing to the community, to people who are you're serving. And so the sound just that comes from your body, it's even more deep, because there's this contact high that's like by watching and hearing person who is falling into trance takes you to the journey, and you're journeying with that person. And that's how it was traditionally in my culture. So the shamans would gather people, and they would have a heroic epic storytelling with embodying all the characters, and their voice tone would change. They could be an elder or a young girl or spirit or shaman, and like over 50 different characters. And then when you are in the stage, and then you share this, you embody those voices, and people can, there's something about neural pattern, in a more scientific way, if I describe, people think that they're doing it with you. Like it's literally your body reacts, like all the cells in your body feeling it. And then that opens up some portal, that what I heard from people. And the main thing is I love to see their transformation and this inspiration that brings them into transformation. And all of a sudden, I hear them doing birds and animal sounds, or I hear them, sounding their own songs, their own voices. And that is the most precious thing. And I do have courses, I do have students, private one or, group, and I'm preparing special educational and creative app for that, for Olox ecosystem that we would talk about, because that's what I want to bring. Like the whole idea, what I'm doing is to inspire people to raise their voices, because there's a lot of oppression going on these days on self-expression, and it just needs to be unlocked, because we all have that gift. We're not borrowing it somewhere. We all have those voices, very powerful voices.
It's so good. And when I first saw you at Dance Beyond over up in the Berkshires at the weekend long camp, and I had written you, and I said, wow, for the first time in my life, I actually feel like it's okay, because I've been making weird animal noises since I was a kid. And it was just, I think it was my way of like connecting and communicating. I still do it. I actually have a bird nesting like right outside a window right now, and I talk to it, but that's exactly what I thought. I'm like, wow, maybe there's something here. Like maybe I could learn not to sing like you, but to actually like get it deeper into this depth of connection to these beings, and like really radiate it through my soul. Hey everyone, just a quick break to remind you that the True Path Entrepreneur Group Mastermind Program is open for enrollment now. We start at the beginning of 2024 in January, but we are starting to take applications now. If you'd like to learn more, you can check out the Mastermind webpage on my site at bethaweinstein.com/mastermind. This is a 12-month group community-oriented mastermind program where you learn how to start, grow, and get clients in your business so that you can help more people, make a difference in the world, and do work that you absolutely love. This mastermind program is designed for new and early stage coaches, healers, psychedelic entrepreneurs, therapists, and anybody who wants to do transformational work in the world and wants to learn the exact steps you need to know to grow your business to the next level, to be able to share your unique medicine and make a difference in the world. So again, that's bethaweinstein.com/mastermind. The True Path Entrepreneur Group Business Coaching Mastermind Program is open now. I was going to ask if you had classes. I'm like, I wonder if she teaches how to do some of these techniques, just because it's so, it's so far off of like our Western world and what we've learned in our limited, what I always think of as very limited language and voices and ways of using our mouth and our body even. But I want to hear about this OLOX ecosystem and what you have coming up. And I'm also curious, when we hear about it, was this a download that came through like your own altered state? This idea of the OLOX ecosystem, where did it come from?
Oh, very good question.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make also comment on bird nesting, and then you been doing this animal sounds. It's really beautiful to hear about that, first of all. And I wish that we have another language in the entire world to communicate with each other, like our very ancient ancestors perhaps would do before even human language was invented. And that's the whole point for courses. For my courses, it's not copying me or not copying the animals, birds, sounds that I do. Those are just opening points. They bring an inspiration, but you and your environment, the connection, as exactly as you said, I encourage people, my students, to embody the sound they hear, because then you have a harmonious relationship with your specific environment and where you were born or where do you live, because our body constantly absorbs the sound around us. And then when we pay our attention, the word attention in English, it's actually a magical, very powerful energy behind that word. And we quite often taking it for granted. We say, and then, thank you for your attention. We say that too many times that we forgot that it's a really, really powerful word. Just by focusing on one thing, paying attention, the entire universe being created in that moment. So I'm very, very happy to hear that there are more and more people being confident about their weird noises that coming from the body. And I always say, don't be afraid to sound weird. Yeah. And then, it's just something about our society that we agreed in being in the matrix and building the cities that we should behave in a certain way, and then everything is out of that behavior. It looks strange and odd and weird, but this is the time where we bring our ancestors, our ancestors. Whoop, even that noises around us and like a reacting. I love that, like being in hearing this orchestra of surround sound, and those like the environment changes slower than we change. Like trees can live longer than us, and they store a lot of wisdom, and they are literally a connection to our ancient ancestors. So it's like honoring and respecting that environment requires to understand that environment through those sounds. And thank you for reminding it. And that inspired me to create OLOX ecosystem. And basically, perhaps you've seen my duo project with Andres. It called OLOX first. It was a musical project first that I brought here to the United States 5 years ago. But then it became the name of the whole ecosystem, because OLOX means olok in my native tongue, Sakha tongue, and it called the life. The translation is the life. And I wanted just to expand. I didn't want to be just a musical project. And during lockdown, that inspiration came to me, that this vision, the entire vision. And I wanted to create the Temple of Shamanism and Science, where I can invite a lot of shamanic cultures around the world as it is, and share in that circle, in that center, like coming more like a council for the world, bringing gifted people, elders, brave hearts, and brilliant minds all together to work on solutions of the problems that and challenges that humanity constantly faces. And so the Olox ecosystem, when I envisioned that, I needed to kind of sit with that, sleep with that. And since lockdown, I'm cooking it inside this my little baby. And it is becoming more real inside of the matrix. Like when I say matrix, it's a society. It's the physical, tangible world that we've created. And as it is becoming as an app, the first you create kind of platform for people, for my followers specifically, that I have over 1,500,000 people. I want to serve them, give them something special. So those are the tools for creativity. Again, Rise Your Voice, and also an educational platform that we can bring an indigenous representative that can teach us for their wisdom and perhaps their singing techniques, their playing their instruments, their dances. So that's becoming these days very real. I have team, I have developers of the app, and soon we're going to rise a GoFundMe, and then I really, really need your support, like people's support to spread the word about that. And that is also, all interconnecting music, because the music that I do right now, it's not only live music, it's also, it's not only the ceremonial music that is, pure channeling or something. It's also has different formats. Let's say I like combining electronic music. I'm becoming a music producer right now, working with a professional tool as Ableton Live and dropping the beats. So, and I'm bringing this Arctic beats genre, completely new genre. There are Afrobeats, right? There are many different kind of beats that actually comes from our ancestors. A lot of modern beats that we have today, they all have very ancient roots that embodies a lot of cultures, a lot of voices, a lot of traditions, and then you can literally connect to those traditions through the rhythms. So I would like to bring Arctic rhythms, Arctic beats to my electronic music set. And I'm also currently working on commercial songs, the mainstream songs. And then look at it more like, you want to spread that to the larger audience and specifically to the younger generations. That's why I'm very, very interested in combining and bridging the scientific technologies with ancient technologies that science couldn't, explain it yet. Didn't get it, but slowly we're keep unfolding this wisdoms that we are all surrounded constantly. And I like bringing those, dots into connection.
This is going to be incredible. And yeah, please send us the GoFundMe link when it's ready, and I will help share it around. There's a lot of people I've interviewed over the years, and of course, I think being on this medicine path, on this path of awakening the heart and really being of service to the world, there's so many of us that really realize our ancestors in these ancient ways, the indigenous ways, seem to understand how to live, understand how to be more in harmony with the earth, with each other, with the planet. And there's so many conversations around like all the problems that we're facing and how we can actually turn to these ancient ways to maybe find some solutions. And so there is this, it seems to be going this way. At least this is what I like to believe. But you said, like you said, the masses, this is another story. It's like, how do we get this message out to the masses? And, maybe the masses are not working with ayahuasca or going down and spending, weeks in the jungle with indigenous, communities. This is not like the everyday path that everybody's on. So I've always said medicine music needs to become mainstream one day. Like this idea of, music being, like this higher vibration that brings people into this kind of healing state where then they can actually maybe tap into their own souls and their hearts and actually really get that same, like shamanic download that you were talking about. So I'm very supportive of having your work reach the masses and also just the messages behind it. And I'm curious, are there messages that you bring along with your music and your work that is, like your mission about helping people see, like, here are the ancient ways and here's how we could do it better? Is that kind of the mission you have? And what is that all about?
Very good question. It's everything that I do in music, it has own meaning. And, when I sing in Sakha, quite often has a wisdom. And people who even don't understand Sakha language, they will share that in a realm of vibrations. And they will have their own downloads from that. For me, what is the most precious is letting people to expand their imagination. There's another English word that I really cherish and care about, along with attention. It's imagination. And imagination, it's just such a powerful gift that human being has. And that, gift takes us, it creates entire universe, entire world. And look at the whole physical world that we've created. That's someone's imagination. Like everything that we have today. Phone, it's someone's imagination. Glasses, someone's imagination. Someone created it in their own world, in inner world. And then they started to invent. And it became a useful physical tool for us. So I quite often focus on the reason why I do this, path, why I'm on this path, why I agreed to serve this mission, why do I sing those words, and then it becomes more meaningful, and it makes sense for me to. I'm not an English English speaker. This is my fourth language, and to become a songwriter in English, that is just one of the beautiful ways to bring meaning. So perhaps it is created in my imagination, and it has a lot of certain stages of translation. So it's translated like into music, just the sounds, and then it becomes Sakha language, and it becomes perhaps Russian, because Russian is my second language, and then it becomes English. So, and then it has a lot of meanings. So it goes through many stages, and then on a way, you can observe how human consciousness has these different stages of different layers of translations. And it was literally like that when I just started learning English. I had to translate from Sakha into Russian, from Russian into English, and it would take me longer time to realize and have these pictures, like imaginative storytelling in my head. And then it turned into English word. And today I'm so happy that I've evolved that skill to write songs in English. And I'm so happy to share it with the entire world. And there are many, many tools how to share. You know, as I said before, sound doesn't have any obstacles. And I believe that our ancestors were telepathically connecting to each other. There was like even more connection, perhaps like a collective. Even the cultures were different, tribes were living in different continents, but they were all connected through this over the seas. And then today we're become more close physically. There are more people, less space, but we're not connected. So there is a gap. And then I think sound has this power to collect all of us, our consciousness. And that is, therefore, like we have this yearning for a collective consciousness, being as one united tribe. That's why we invented even these tools like internet that today we can access to global web of internet, and it stores a lot of data, and you can put sound, the digital sound there, and spread it. So there are certain ways, and we call it marketing, right? So you can create content and market it. It could be the content that is useful or not useful. And it's totally up to us. There's the whole battle going on in the social medias and in the entire internet, and even this AI being very trendy today. And, it's totally up to us what path we're going to choose. And there's always this dance between dark and light. There's no just a higher vibration. There's also lower vibrations that are like earthquake, volcano, like destructive energy. And without destruction, we don't have a creation. So it's the whole entire, universe constantly dances with these two energies, like a dualities dancing together. And in that dance, they create all kind of other energies. So
that's so profound, and I really want people to hear that. There's a lot of people, at least my own clients, one of the biggest challenges for them is really just sharing their voice and really being okay with who they truly are. And I do also agree that the vibration of your voice doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter how it comes out. It's like the vibration of it is the medicine. I actually call it share your unique medicine, because I hate the word marketing myself. And I'm like, well, it's just sharing yourself. That's it. It's like sharing with no attachments from a place of like, just like your art, your creative expression, and or whatever, being of service, wanting to make a difference. And that's it. So I'm glad you brought this up. It was so well said. Now, I have a question, coming from your background in, growing up in this kind of shamanic family and culture, and then coming over to the Western world, and then going to, let's say, Burning Man many times and living in New York. I'm curious, have you had any psychedelic experiences with, plant medicines or synthetic psychedelics? And if so, how did those have an effect on your, like the work that you do or the life that you're living now?
So that is applies what I'm experiencing these days. I've been, because I grew up in an environment, in the traditions that we don't have any substances. And perhaps that substance is for us is the sound, is the singing. And there's something naturally, we all have as human beings, those gifts of altering. There are many, many ways to be altered. And there's something about the North Pole that people would naturally fall into trance without controlling it. And it's a burden. It's not easy for them. They go through very, very intense eteni, the rite of passage process. We call it shamanic disease. And so I grew up in that environment, learning from elders, and specifically from my grandfather, who was an amazing storyteller and writer and engineer, who brought and electricity to the village, and build school, kindergarten, hospital in the village. So he was a portal, and my grandmother was a portal to this mysterious part of my culture. And there is this vision that, those beautiful teachers, specifically the plant medicines, that indigenous cultures know how to dance with these energies, how to deal with these spirits of plant medicine, the gifts of the Mother Earth that remind us that we're all interconnected. So I truly believe that if we bring psychedelics and plant medicines into our society in a respected and honored way, and bringing reciprocity, honoring the roots of psychedelics, because in my opinion, psychedelics have very deep roots and there are derivatives. They're babies of master plant medicines. They are inspired from them because everything that we scientifically discovered, they already exist in the nature. So, and I think if there is a smart approach to that, if there is a wise approach and caring to the specifically psychedelics, that this big MAPS conference was such a great example, how people are more aware of that there are these powerful tools, powerful teachers that we can integrate to our society, that we can work with our oppressions and inner pains and social pains. And these days I've been envisioning, this is very, very new for me because as I told you that I grew up in different environments, but yet it's all connected. So I'm connecting those dots and seeing more similarities and bringing the wisdom of my people to this society, modern Western society. And I even co-written an article with a psychiatrist, psychotherapist from Jungian Institute in San Francisco about Sakha shamanism, how it could be helpful for Western psychiatry. And through that, I built my curiosity, and I clearly see how the tools that I'm bringing, those courses, how to open up your own voice, mimicking birds and animal sounds, playing instrument and dancing, this could be integrated along with psychedelic assisted therapies that today are becoming the field of interest of quite a lot of people. It's spreading pretty fast, and more states are decriminalizing and legalizing. But again, there are a lot of like a caution, and then it's more like a caring about other people who are not educated, I would say, not experienced with that. So we need to take care of that part. We call it regulation, another English word. But regulation, it's not a control regulation, it's actually caring. You want to care about this medicine. You don't want to let them to take over and damage us, or you don't want to damage other people. So it should come from the caring and compassion and kindness rather than, bringing into control and then regulation. So I'm very, very eager to inspire or inspirit the English words that we've taken for granted, such as attention, imagination, regulations, and many others, bringing more Sakha meanings, more indigenous meanings to this world of words, and reframe them, rephrase them, or rethink and refeel them in a different way, more deep ways and wise ways. So I truly believe that there are many, many wisdoms that coming from indigenous people, and if we create these bridges between modern and indigenous societies, we can really benefit. We can truly benefit, I believe.
Yeah, the bridge. It's so important because, it's been interesting in this medicine space. I've been on this path over 30 years, and it's been a big, profound part of my spiritual path and my awakening, along with meditation, Buddhism, other embodiment practices. But there's a lot of people that have this kind of almost like a split, like, no, that's for the indigenous peoples only, and let it be theirs, and it's not for us. There's a lot of that argument over, like, do Western countries really need, like, is it okay to have a Westerner pour ayahuasca or work with iboga here in the U.S. when it grows in Gabon? There's a lot of this, like, trying to figure it out and trying to get it right, but then there's this this desire for so many people who want healing, want spiritual growth, want to evolve, and really create a more beautiful world. So it's been interesting, but I keep saying this, it's really the intersection, the bridge, like you mentioned, this intersection of indigenous and modern times, and science and spirituality, and these worlds that come together. And like you said, the sacred reciprocity built into it, because again, I don't believe that, one group of people like owns a plant and then no one else is allowed to have. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like that's like okay to maybe work with a plant that's from Gabon in, I don't know, Los Angeles?
So I would say there is the gifts of the nature. They're for a reason. They exist for the reason. They're there to remind us about something, and quite often that we are, not in the top of the chain, or somewhere part of that chain, part of the universe. And from our hearts, we really, really want to bring it. When you have an ecstatic state and major downloads, first thing what you want to do to share it with people. You really, really want to other people to experience that, right? If somebody are in a healing path, the healing happens when you want that healing experience that you are bringing through your soul and body. You want to share it with other people. That's a beautiful way to see another way of healing, like another path of healing, sharing it with other people. And then with sharing, there's quite interesting. It's a process. It takes longer time for us to figure out how to share. And it's natural that we're all right now in a state of, we divide it into groups and we have our opinions, and it's quite often black and white, right or wrong. That's one of the stages when human consciousness start to think about that. It's very healthy to question. It's very healthy to think about those people and take it for consideration. And quite often, our first reaction it's right or wrong. But then we have more detailed perception, more like how we can let's say how we can merge that right or wrong, black and white, because naturally, we are kind of bouncing from one side to another, but naturally our being as a human, we want what is between, so we will come into that point anyway, but it just takes a little longer time. And this excitement around this energy that separates us into groups and then wanting to participate in that. Oh, I'm going to take this side. I'm going to take that side. It's just I see it more like a natural way, and I'm actually happy that this is happening, because there are some people who are aware of that plant medicines are taken care by indigenous people, and they know how to work with them. So those people will rise another energy, and then other people will rise another energy, and at some point it will merge, because everything merges in this universe. Everything. And I'm very curious to see and observe and even participate, help to breach that, those energies. So I'm kind of naturally observing it.
It's kind of, I think, all we can do, really. But I love this perspective, and hopefully they merge. Hopefully in our lifetime, because I'm sick of the separation myself. But Snow Raven, I know you have to get going, but I want to give you a chance to share what you have coming up the next few months, anything you want to shout out, and of course, where can people find you? And is Olox available to everybody right now, or is it still kind of being put together?
Yeah, so main information, it's on my website, olox.life, which means, Olox means the life.
Yeah.
And you can find the white paper or the presentation that I've created there that tells a lot what I'm doing and what I'm envisioning, what Olox does mean. And then the Instagram, all the social media, specifically Instagram, it's very active for me. Like first announcements usually start from there. And what is the plan for the close future, that the projects that I'm working with? It's I'm finishing my ambient album, 12 songs, and that's truly my expression that contains my own original songs in English and traditional songs in Sakha. They both are there, and it's truly a bridge for me. And I'm working with an amazing composer, Misha Mishenka. He's from Russia, and he moved to the United States recently, and it turned out to be we're both in New York. And then I wanted to work with him since 2015. And then this just happened, and there's some guidance coming from universe. So we naturally started to create that album in April. And then these days we're working in studio, just the post-production part. And perhaps if it turned out to be that way, we're going to apply for Grammy for the special category called New Age or Ethnic or Roots. We'll see. It's all experiment. It's you never know how it's going to end up. But here we're trying to bring it into more like a mainstream, or I would say bring in attention of the specific, group of people, professionals. And then the second thing is I'm very, very excited about bringing these 3 commercial mainstream songs. Perhaps this will surprise most of my followers, because that's new skill that opened up in myself, new voice. I have a lot of voices in me, and each voice has its own character. And so that new guest that I invited inside of me, that I am, very much cherishing it and caring about that. I'm very excited about how it's going to make first steps like a baby. And and then this whole Olox ecosystem, Olox app, it's taking also first steps. We will announce our GoFundMe campaign, and it's all going to be on social media.
Perfect. Well, we'll be sure to help share that around. Please just send me the link, and we'll drop it right here. We'll share it with our audience for both the summit and the podcast. Snow Raven, it was such an honor to have you here and talk to you. I'm so excited for this new album. And I can't wait to see you play on the playa in just a few days. Mm-hmm. And, By the time this comes out, we'll already be long done. But thank you so much for sharing your unique medicine with the world. This is definitely the medicine that the world needs for your times. And I know that Grammy is yours. I have this feeling we're going to make it happen. Everybody watching is going to send you energy, because I do agree this really needs to go mainstream in order to get these messages out there and see, hopefully, a better planet for all. So thank you.
Beth. Thank you so, so much for having me. And thank you for your contribution for build this beautiful vision that we have about our earth and home society. Thank you for being part of this giant mycelium web, or I would say like wind of change. And I truly believe that we are the healers for ourselves. We're the teachers, the best teachers and the best healers for ourselves. And let's bring that medicine, which is our voices, to the bigger world. Thank you.
Thank you.